The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Today, the volume of plastics we use already exceeds that of steel. It is estimated that during this decade, the use of plastic will increase by 50%. Plastics are not biodegradable, but can be reused. Recycling is a key to reducing this waste. I'm Ed Begley Jr. This week on Today's Environment, discover how we can recycle products containing plastics and how they're being reused.
Today, City Council
reducing
9,000
reducing air pollutants by
plastic amounts.
80%. Educational programs.
There are 7 different codes to identify specific types of plastic for recycling. The code on the bottom of this cup identifies the type of plastic it's made from. Next, you'll see how one of these plastics is used over and over again.
Polyester. It's been around for decades. We wear it, we walk on it, we sleep on it, and we drink from it. But what happens when we're done with it? One of the main environmental concerns today is the recovery, recycling, and reuse of polyester containers. PET resins, short for polyethylene terephthalate, are used in the production of plastic or polyester containers and other products like these. PET containers take up 7% of our landfill space. Though it may not sound like a large percentage, now's the time to reduce this waste problem before it has a chance to increase. With that in mind, the world's first recycling process for PET containers was developed by a company most people think of as only making tires. In 1979, Goodyear's polyester division began work on a recycling program years before the introduction of the world's first PET container. Though they've been involved for more than 25 years in manufacturing of polyester, their forward thinking led them to wonder how to recover polyester containers from the waste stream, thus preventing what could potentially become a landfill problem. Billions of polyester containers are made each year. These bottles alone are produced at the amazing rate of 18,000 per hour. But polyester bottles aren't the only PET resin products manufactured and used every day. Packages like these use FDA-regulated copolyester adhesives to protect the quality of that product. Copolyester coatings give the bright and colorful look that makes the product more attractive to the consumer's eye. But looks aren't everything. PET containers must be resistant to food oil, alcohol, and acids. They must be high in clarity and sparkle, yet be safe and practical for food materials and consumer use. Today, over 50 uses for recycled PET resins include carpet fiber, package strapping, fiber fill for pillows, and insulation used in jackets and sleeping bags. Believe it or not, PET is so versatile, Goodyear recycled polyester flake into polyester fabric and had a 2-piece suit and matching tie made from it. The suit now stands in Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. Other applications for ultra-clear PET resins are odorless and tasteless trays and containers for cookies, salads, dairy products, fast food items, and blister packs. These, too, are being recovered and recycled from our waste stream. Products made from recycled PET resins may cost more to recycle than starting from scratch, but by doing so, Goodyear's lending its hand in helping our environment. An additional environmental plus is that polyester is completely combustible and burns cleaner than common fuel in commercial municipal incinerators with no adverse effect on the environment, and its energy output is equivalent to coal. Though we all must play our part in the long-term commitment of recycling PET products, Goodyear is a company that's helping save Mother Earth's resources by taking seconds and turning them into firsts.
The air inside your home can sometimes be more polluted than the air in a big city. There are so many chemicals found in household products, you should air out your home as much as possible. But technology has provided us with another answer.
Mankind is the only species that pollutes its own surroundings. Nature lends a hand as well, with allergenic materials produced by plants, and animals get into the act too. Every day we inhale more than 2 tablespoons of smoke, bacteria, dust, pollen, and other particles, most of it so small it can't be seen. What may be most surprising is that the majority of these contaminants aren't from what we usually think of as the source of air pollution, but from the air we breathe, inside homes, offices, and public buildings. According to the EPA, the air here can be more seriously polluted than outdoor air in even the largest and most industrialized areas. The culprits are likely to be found in just about any room. Some we know about and won't part with, and others we'd like to dispense with. Allergens from outdoors that follow us inside, and microscopic creatures like dust mites that make their homes in our mattresses, bedspreads, carpeting, drapes, even our pillows. Most experts agree that of the 3 ways to overcome indoor air pollution, removing the source, increasing ventilation, or trapping the airborne particles, scientists have learned how to eliminate pollutants in high-tech environments, creating clean rooms, and in hospital operating rooms where a bacteria-free atmosphere is essential. This has been made possible with the aid of a new breed of indoor filtration system that can eliminate airborne particles as large as lint or as tiny as an unseen virus. One type that has proved particularly successful in indoor applications is the high-efficiency particulate air, or HEPA filter. These filters, which are made from very thin glass, look like heavy blotting paper. They capture more than 99.97% of all particles in the air. A unique airflow system directs clean air in a 360-degree pattern, so it can be placed anywhere in a room. Using this filtration method, EnviroCare Corporation of Hagerstown, Maryland, began distributing air cleaners for medical use in 1986 and introduced them to the consumer market in 1990. Their unique circular design enables them to produce a 360-degree airflow pattern. A charcoal pre-filter, which lasts about 3 months, removes larger particles from the air, such as animal hair and lint, while the HEPA filter, which will last up to 5 years, depending on pollution levels, removes close to 100% of all indoor pollutants, including bacteria, viruses, debris from pets and dust mites, pollen, mold spores, tobacco smoke, and other contaminants, providing an environment that is both healthful and comfortable. EnviroCare is pleased that with their environmental air cleaners, they're able to provide assistance to sufferers of allergies, asthma, or other respiratory disorders, and at the same time help improve indoor air quality, removing a major health hazard from homes as well as from commercial and institutional buildings, making the environment we live in a little bit healthier.
The average American throws away 3.5 pounds of garbage a day. That's 1,300 pounds a year. One of the problems with garbage in landfills is that sometimes the toxics leak and find their way into our water. Today's Environment discovered one way this problem is being prevented.
The nonchalant viewpoints toward our waste problems of yesterday have today become important ecological issues in areas where landfill, hazardous wastes, and petroleum storage tank sites are concerned. Over time, these sites have evolved into such large, complex developments that they require liner systems that protect our groundwater from contamination. The protection of our groundwater and other natural resources have become sensitive issues and are being looked at very seriously. Though plastic liners and compacted clay are good methods of barriers and containment, these systems sometimes can be very costly and installation can be very time-consuming. Faced with these problems, a feasible and cost-effective geomembrane liner system was needed that would intercept, collect, and contain leachate in an environmentally secure and safe manner. The solution was using a permanent waterproof barrier made from the Earth's own resources. Sodium bentonite clay, mined in Western America, is sandwiched between a durable woven polypropylene fabric unfolding one of nature's best waterproofing material. This composite clay liner, called Claymax, provides a uniform layer of clay in a carpet-like form and is literally rolled out like pie crust, as if covering a pie pan. This bentonite liner system seals the entire ground surface when hydrated. It's extremely hygroscopic and absorbs up to 15 times its own volume of water, swelling into voids and around ground protrusions. In landfill applications, this liner at 1/4 inch replaces 3 feet of natural clay in many landfill designs, giving as much as 15% more usable landfill volume. In the long run, this system's added measure of safety prevents contaminants from a landfill or hazardous disposal site from leaching into our groundwater. The self-healing properties of this liner ensures a waterproof membrane even when it's punctured by rock or refuse in the landfill, and its self-seaming properties assures that leaks do not occur at overlap seams. The application is actually quite simple, and no sophisticated mechanical or field welding is required for seaming. As an alternative to compacted clay or plastic liners, this system has also been used at hazardous material disposal sites. In a case history of sealing off PCB contaminated soils, Claymax replaced 2 feet of clay in a cap design. What would normally take weeks of compacting 400 truckloads of clay for 1 acre of landfill, this bentonite liner used just 1 truckload and took only 1 day to install. EPA and other state and federal regulations require secondary containment systems at petroleum storage tank sites as well. These sites, designed in a cup and saucer fashion, with the tank serving as the cup and the bermed containment area the saucer, the bentonite liner is simply rolled down the slope and across the base. Major oil companies have found it to be an efficient, durable, and cost-effective liner, meeting demanding secondary containment standards. Thanks to environmental attention like this, our world is being offered a comforting and hopeful future in the protection of our valuable resources. In North America, wastewater from sewage treatment plants has been disinfected with chlorine. There are several disadvantages associated with this treatment. Chlorine poses a threat to the health and safety of workers and the public. And when combined with organic compounds in the wastewater, it forms carcinogens that can't be removed by conventional treatment methods. The presence of these and other toxins has led to stringent limits on the concentration of toxic substances monitored at the wastewater treatment plants. In the 1980s, Trojan Technologies, a Canadian-based firm, pioneered the use of ultraviolet light as an alternative to chlorine for wastewater disinfection. In less than 10 years, more than 500 wastewater treatment plants in North America have switched to UV light as an environmentally sound disinfection method. Since the beginning of time, sunlight has acted as a natural disinfectant. Ultraviolet light destroys bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms. UV disinfection systems have been shown to meet the most stringent disinfection standards. Disinfection takes place without adding dangerous chemicals which contribute to effluent toxicity or operator and public safety hazards. At their facility, scientists and engineers have helped set new standards within the wastewater treatment industry by developing reliable UV disinfection systems. Their capacity ranges from 20,000 to several 100 million gallons per day. Small-scale treatment plants use about 1 kilowatt of electricity per hour to disinfect 250,000 gallons of wastewater per day. So how does ultraviolet light disinfect? It alters the DNA, or genetic material, in cells so that bacteria, viruses, molds, algae, and other microorganisms can no longer reproduce. In a Trojan system, the ultraviolet light is generated by means of low-pressure mercury arc lamps, which are set in an open channel. As it travels through a medium, such as wastewater, bacteria and viruses are lethally damaged by exposure to the ultraviolet light, reducing the concentration of disease-causing microbes to non-infectious or safe levels. Because UV systems requirements vary from one application to another, a completely modular concept in the design of the systems was used. By using the required number of standard UV modules, every system can be custom designed to handle the specific requirements of any wastewater treatment plant. Weatherproof systems are installed in open-air channels and require no housing or building. Sewage plant effluents pass through UV systems by gravity flow, so no pumps, valves, or special fittings are needed. UV modules can be shut down individually and removed from the concrete channel for servicing without interrupting the performance of other modules. The result? Lower capital cost, easier maintenance, and minimal requirements for standby or backup equipment. Trojan scientists and engineers are actively developing the next generation of UV systems designed to extend the application of this technology to other water and wastewater treatment applications. This will create new opportunities to apply the advantages of UV technology to the improvement of our natural and drinking water supplies.
Since World War II, about 58,000 new chemicals have been introduced. The EPA estimates that an additional 1,000 new chemicals come on the market each year, with many carrying potential health hazards. Let's find out how people can deal with hazardous chemicals safely.
Drums containing hazardous waste have been removed from this site. Now, before final cleanup can begin, boreholes are drilled so that the extent of residual contamination can be determined. Successful environmental investigation and remediation depend on both the accurate collection, management, and interpretation of field data and the ability to understand and apply current regulations. It takes 3 to 5 years of on-the-job training before a person in this field has enough working knowledge to be considered experienced. And even an experienced environmental professional runs the risk of becoming inexperienced if he or she doesn't keep abreast of the rapid changes occurring in the field. One environmental engineering and consulting firm, PRC Environmental Management, has recognized the need for the continuous training of its environmental personnel. For the past 10 years, PRC has been providing comprehensive environmental services to clients in the federal government, such as the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Energy, and the U.S. Department of Defense, as well as clients in private industry. To meet these needs, the company developed and implemented a training program designed to develop the necessary skills in their people over a much shorter time period than the traditional 3 to 5 years. The PRC training program for its own people was considered so successful, and the general need for the same type of training judged to be so universal, it was decided to extend the service to those outside the company. The in-house training program was developed into a curriculum consisting of short-term intensive courses for the environmental professional. It is now being offered to other groups by the PRC Environmental Training Center, which was established in May of 1991. Courses are available in such subjects as environmental policy, environmental regulations, waste management, site and property assessments, data collection and management, data analysis, and training for trainers. There are 2 types of courses offered. One is a hands-on field course taught over a 5-day period. Each of these courses in the curriculum is estimated to provide the student with intensive exposure to environmental investigation and engineering techniques normally learned only through on-the-job training. Hands-on training with a problem-solving approach is widely recognized as the most successful learning strategy. Students receiving this type of training retain more of the material for a longer period of time than with typical classroom training. The second type of course is a 3-day interactive workshop taught by individuals with extensive hands-on experience. The workshop utilizes case studies and problem-solving exercises to provide students with practical experience. They're designed to give participants an understanding that is applicable in both the field and the boardroom. In addition, the company designs training programs to meet specific needs of any organization. These might involve everything from providing training in selected data collection techniques to developing a postgraduate curriculum for a university or regulatory agency. There is no doubt that training is a critical step if we are to understand and analyze the essential elements that make up our environment. Through proper training, we can develop the workforce necessary to create a better environment for future generations.
This year, over 55 million tons of medical waste will be thrown away. Some of that waste could end up in our neighborhoods, waterways, and beaches. Today's Environment discovered how medical waste can be treated and disposed of properly.
Medical wastes have been impacting our environment for decades and have increased at an alarming rate during the past 30 years. This is due in part because hospitals are using more and more disposable medical items. Like any large industry, hospitals are attempting new ways to deal with their waste problem. The nature of these wastes, which sometimes contain infectious bacteria, radioactive material, and even body wastes, has prompted widespread concerns from health and disposal regulatory agencies as to its impact on our environment. Hospitals produce up to 4 times more plastic waste by weight than ordinary municipal garbage. Unfortunately, most of the American public was unaware of how much of an impact medical waste was making until it began washing up on our shores and beaches. Today, medical wastes amount to over 3 million tons per year. One company lending its hand to help overcome this environmental concern is Baxter Healthcare. Baxter's Pharmaceutical division manufactures products for the operating room and the anesthesia and respiratory therapy departments. One example of their environmental progress is their Medevac suction canister business, manufactured in Jacksonville, Texas. Their environmental approach starts at the manufacturing facility, where their WeCycle program has eliminated 90% of all landfill waste and recycled over 300,000 pounds of waste previously dumped in the local landfill. Through research and development, their environmental commitment continues in their product design, where nearly 3 million pounds of plastic resin has been permanently eliminated from the waste stream in the manufacturing of these canisters. 2 types of Medevac canisters are actually semi-reusable, utilizing disposable thin liners in a reusable outer canister. This process actually requires up to 50% less plastic, reduces wastes, and requires less energy to produce, and they pack more efficiently, saving up to 40% of the space in corrugated cardboard. In addition, their canisters are made from plastics that incinerate more cleanly, release no toxic fumes, and become white ash and carbon dioxide. Larger hospitals using these liners can save thousands of healthcare dollars annually in disposal costs. Given that suction canisters are filled with dangerous infectious blood and body fluids, the safety of healthcare workers and the disposal impact on the environment are also important. Though these fluids are contained in break-resistant liners and secure caps, there are still safety and environmental issues at hand. To reduce these problems, Baxter provides a powder-like substance called isolyzer liquid treatment that converts these infectious wastes to treated medical solid waste. This solidification and chemical treatment renders it safe for transport through the hospital, kills 99.9% of microorganisms, and can be disposed of as non-infectious wastes. It's also biodegradable and poses no dangers for underground contamination. In their efforts to help reduce medical wastes, Baxter is helping hospitals better understand and comply with complex EPA laws and guidelines, as well as helping hospitals cut down on substantial costs for waste disposal. Hospitals dispose of their medical waste in a variety of ways. Because of this growing problem, it is imperative to our environment that they conduct internal waste reduction audits and recycling programs by using products that have less environmental impact.
Every day, new technologies are being brought to life in pursuit of solutions for our environmental problems. Each week, Today's Environment explores the contributions people are making toward cleaning our water, air, and the land on which we live. Write us if you know of someone making a contribution toward a brighter environmental future. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join us next week as we continue to search for more environmental solutions on Today's Environment.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.